Mortgages. It's what a lot of people are talking about, right? What do I do? Should I invest in buy-to-let property anymore? Can't see the point. Lots of negativity. The experienced guy, they're not taking notice of what's happening. They're taking advantage. Well, where should I buy? I'm thinking of doing this.
Don't bother, mate.
I can't bother.
House. It stacks 8%. Just bought a house for probably £20,000. This is the golden opportunity now. That'll probably come along in an investor's lifetime 5 or 6 times. I'm Jess.
I'm Adam.
We are For the Landlords. We help landlords get more money, their time back, and less hassle.
We do indeed.
We do.
Right then, shall we jump into today's...
Adam asks, and Adam's got a question. It's the kind of questions that landlords ask us, each other, and we're going to shed light on and answer questions.
Yeah.
So what is it today?
Today is kind of centred around mortgages. It's what a lot of people are talking about right now.
Yep.
There was another couple of rises recently which resulted in the banks and mortgage providers going a bit against what's been expected of them.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
And all the products kind of went up again, which resulted in a lot of people saying to me, what do I do? Should I invest in buy-to-let property anymore? Can't see the point. Lots of negativity.
Yeah.
And then, as is been the case for the last 12 months, we're still placing deals with investors, and it's the theme again is the professional, the experienced guys, the ones who've been doing it for quite a long time and have got a portfolio ploughing along. Yep. They're not taking notice of what's happening. They're taking advantage.
What was the actual question? Was it loads of questions all?
It's kind of I had a guy in the pub say to me,
typical stuff,
yeah. Your mate said that you work in property and I've got a buy-to-let. I was thinking of just selling it now. What do you think I should do? I thought, is that the only one you've got yet? Well, that's probably why you're thinking of selling it then. Yeah. Have you thought of this? Have you thought the person you're selling it to is probably an experienced landlord who will snap it off you? I just thought we'd just have a general chat around the subject because I'm getting that question a lot. Should I still invest? Should I sell? Why should I buy more? And then I just keep seeing you. I watch you're doing your refinances still. You locked in some rates a few weeks ago, and you're not going to not buy another house with the money. You're going to go again.
Of course. I've been doing refinances for the last year, more than we're always doing refinances, but there's stuff where I've probably taken a slightly worse rate. Not right now, this second. Some rates right now I have paused refinancing. That's probably worth knowing. But refinances that I've done, I was doing. Adam signs every witness statement, and you must do 2 or 3 a week at the moment. And
did 3 today.
Yeah, but those rates are. I think they're 5s, 4.5 to 5, and that's today. And you can't get that right now today, but of course I locked that in 3 months ago. And that's probably a little bit higher than I'd have hoped. You've got a calls coming in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the hotline. It's the back line. Oh, don't just we're not going to start the video again.
It's weird. It's on silent. Maybe it's your phone ringing.
Yeah, no, mine's off.
Don't know how that happened. We are in the office today. So that could be someone out there.
We're
in our landlord lounge.
You might notice this is the landlord lounge, a little bit fancier than the blackout studio. But anyway, where was I? I'm pulling in more money because now is the time to buy. So the typical pub conversation, Dave in the pub asks you, should I buy more? And I half jokingly, when the landlord says, should I sell? I half jokingly say yes, because actually, if you're asking, you don't know me from Adam, and you're asking in a pub, and you're really going to, it's not a very well considered approach.
No, usually the question is, do you think, well, where should I buy? I'm thinking of doing this, where should I do it?
Don't bother, mate.
I can't bother with the conversation.
Yeah, don't bother, because if you're not going to do it properly and actually gear yourself up, they're not asking those questions. They're asking about where's the right place to buy, what to pay for it, and if you've been buying for the last decade, as a amateur investor, it's been very easy. Everything's been with you. The market's been rising. Mortgage rates have been have been ridiculously low, like historical low. Where they are now is actually a bit high, but the long-term average is 4.5, 5.5, somewhere around there, depending on who you listen to, but roughly about there. Lindsay said something interesting the other day. Well, that's not expensive. A couple of things about talking about paying 5% for a mortgage, let's say. where else can you set up a business and get funding?
Yeah.
75% loan to value at 5%.
Yeah,
Well,
nowhere.
nowhere. If you want to set up a business, they'll give you maybe 60%, and they'll charge you 9% at the very, very minimum, and they'll take a massive security on something else.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and if you're looking at other asset classes, where else can you buy something with a mortgage? You know, buy a gold bar, try and put a mortgage on that. You can't. And even if you could, how would you pay the mortgage? Gold bars don't give you money every month. Exactly. So property is just far and away the best. But, of course, there are some headwinds right now that make investing harder. No two ways about it. And for the amateur investor, they're going to be finding that. All sorts of things. Affordability. There's also, some of these amateur investors haven't got as much money in their bank because cost of living is going up. Their own house mortgage, everything. So they just haven't got as much disposable income. So the amateur investor who's had it easy for 10 years is starting to walk away. And the guy in the pub, I'd probably say, yeah, walk away. If you've got some gains, why not? But of course, in a market where all of the amateurs are walking away, what do you think the pros are doing? They're just walking straight towards it. The professionals, the more often than not, the pub conversation, let's call it that, whether you have it in the office and it's a serious conversation, or really is. I do generally have some, that kind of conversation in a pub. Over half of the times that kind of conversation happens, it turns out that the person buying is buying in cash anyway. In which case, mortgages don't matter and prices are soft for cash buyers right now. Now, we are seeing some price, you'll see it all over, price reductions. The news is recession might happen, but house prices seem to be coming down in some places and now they're going to come down in other places. The kind of houses we buy, we're not seeing that because the smaller, cheaper stuff, it's not that it's recession proof, but families buy it.
It's already in the
cheap stuff.
The most affordable.
It's already in the most affordable bit. It might, we think, who knows, might start to or continue to rise, but certainly it's not going to see big tumbles. Downsizers are buying it. It's cheap already. Upsizers are buying. It's relatively well insulated. We think prices in our areas are still going to go up. However, demand is such that our offers get through.
Yeah.
They're soft. You got a buyer who's a bit just an individual person. Don't forget, the talk of a market is all very well and good, but and you do aggregate the numbers together to come up with that graph that gets put on the news or in the Daily Mail or whatever. But when you're buying a house, you're speaking to one vendor, and that conversation you find it soft. I need to move. I'm worried about this, and this. I've got to do that. I've got to do this. And yes, I'll take your offer. Maybe they're a landlord who is selling up. We're buying quite a few houses off ex-landlords. If you're in your 70s and you bought it 40 years ago, you can afford to take an offer, and
definitely,
there you are. So, now is the time for pros to be buying. That's that. What interest rates mean for them. If you're buying cash, great, because actually they're going to get a good deal. Of course, there is going to come a time for some of our landlords that they don't want to keep it in cash. They want to refinance. At that point, 6 months from now, I'd be confident that mortgage rates.
Well, this is it.
If they might not have actually started to come down, but people will be starting to talk about them coming down in 6 months' time. Maybe they've started to come down. If it's 6 months or 12 months, who knows?
If you're buying it in cash, especially if you're doing a sort of house project that needs a renovation, there's some time going to be taken up renovating it also. There's no harm in moving the tenant in and without refinancing and just getting the full rent minus a mortgage payment for a bit. And lock in that asset now. Yeah,
I've got a bit of an insight. Maybe this is how I personally invest now. Same model that we've always ever talked about, but I've got my own pot of capital. And one of the questions I get asked often, and Adam gets it, if you're so good, guys, why doesn't Jess buy all the houses? I buy as many as I possibly can. And one of the ways I found about 5 years ago to buy more is I borrow money from, I've got a couple of private investors. If anybody's got some cash and they want to send it our way, fine, I'll take it. And I pay 9% for that, just so you know. And it's 100% because we put the finance in, so we put the renovation in, so that makes it work. It's just a private agreement I've got with a couple of people. But of course, then I own a house and I'm paying 5%. And I know, and I have to do this, I'm buying quite a few houses, so I've got to make sure it's resilient, it's you know, it's sustainable if I keep stacking these things up on one on top of the other. I know that 9%, because the chap I borrowed most often without setting the 9% rate, it's got to be 9% because any more than that, the houses lose money every month.
Yeah.
So if I keep buying them, I couldn't. I can hold as many properties as I like at 9% and not be bothered. So I've got a few now that they're sort of stacking up. I'm not refinancing, they're just sat there. I owe 100% of the purchase price to somebody else.
How long will you wait until you refinance that then?
I'll wait until I can get a decent rate, I think. I'm refinancing a couple of them out now because I want to give him the money back to take it back out to buy some more. There are some where I have actually paused it because we've got 3 or 4 more houses to buy before that pot comes and I have to redo it. I will redo it. I will refinance it and take a worse rate for 2 years.
Sure.
But I can also refinance out on a tracker rate at 8% now, which would be unthinkable. I'm thinking, what? But it means I bought a house, and I bought it cheaper because of the headwinds that everybody else is facing. I can buy a house. But so the message there is, yeah, it's all very well me saying the pros are running towards it and they're buying and it's all good, but it's if you buy the right house, it stacks 8%. It pays. It doesn't pay. It washes its
pay
face.
anything, yeah.
It doesn't pay much, but heck, you've just bought a house for probably £20,000 less than you could have done a year ago, 2 years ago. Buy as many as you can.
I kind of mentioned this before. When you were buying houses before I knew you, and when you were buying houses in 2009,
Yeah.
10, right?
Yeah.
When people would have been scared to do anything, probably a bit like they are now. And you look at what you paid for them then and what they're worth now, people will be looking at it and going, oh, I bought a house in 2008, 09.
Yeah, so I was buying in those times when, so 20...
They've doubled and trebled in value, right?
2008 was actually people were still buying a lot. October, it stopped. So remember the month. And that following month, and going into 2009, by about 2010, the snake was growing. The snake was the cars following the estate agent.
Right.
We used to count it. So in 2009, there was me. I was it. The estate agents, half of them had been made redundant.
Yeah.
There was one sad-looking guy driving around, and I was following him, doing viewing after viewing after viewing. A year later, there was 3 in the snake. By the time it came to 2010, 11, 12, there was a massive queue, and that's we've done that now. I was buying houses so much cheaper in 2009, 10, then 11. They were getting a bit more. This is the golden opportunity right now. It won't come long again in.
If you're prepared to be professional about it or already are. If you're an amateur and you're just thinking about it and you're not really sure, don't waste your time.
Or come on a discovery call and become a professional.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
This is an opportunity that will probably come along in an investor's lifetime 5 or 6 times.
Right.
5 or 6 times in your lifetime. That's it. It's happened to me twice, and this is the 3rd time. There you go. Can't say much more than that, can you?
No.
The guy in the pub who's not taking it seriously, maybe don't get involved.
Or go and do some research on some parts of the country which are still going up in value because we're buying there.
Yep.
And we know they are.
Okay. That is Adam Asks for today. Hopefully it was useful. Please subscribe. Please
It's a bit more like Adam and Jess talks about today.
Talks about a bit, yeah. Subscribe, bell, like, pass it on to your friends. And if you want to hear more about what we do, we are a letting agent. We're a bit different because we're also property sourcers, but we will find, fix, rent and manage property for you. We do it all over the country. We've done it over 1,000 times. Maybe put in the comments, is it okay to say we're the UK's biggest, most successful property sourcer? Has anybody else bought more than 1,000? We need to add up the exact number.
Maybe.
All very, very similar properties in all over the country, different areas of the country. We're pretty good at doing this. So at the very least, jump on a discovery call to find out more. And you don't have to use our services. It's a free call. Jump on it and hear what we do, how we do it. If you want to become one of our clients, of course you can at the end of the call, but it's not a hard selling anyway. So, right,
Brilliant.
that's the end of it.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye now.